I need some more water. I'm dying over here. Okay, the other question that we have here, sorry, I keep drinking. It's just, I know you might not be able to tell, but it's like 95 degrees in here. There's no AC. Had to turn the AC off because it's too loud, and because it's like right behind where the computer is. Like, can't see my hand, but it goes like, that's where the AC is back there. So when it was on, I was testing it and listening through the microphone. It was just like super loud, so I had to turn it off. So it's really hot in here, so I apologize for that. But the next question is, was there ever a point where you thought about giving up writing? Yes, and I just had one of those moments this last week. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. And it's usually not because someone says, like, hey, this sucks. Very few people will tell you that it sucks. Just real quick, if someone doesn't like what you've written, they'll very rarely tell you directly that they don't like it. It's more of like if you give someone something to read, like, hey, check this out and tell me what you think. If they don't like it, they won't get back to you in a really long time or at all. And if you have to ask, if you give someone a piece of your writing and say, hey, what do you think about this? And you don't hear back from them in just a couple of days, they didn't like it. So it's rarely something like that. Yes, that's happened to me. Of course, what you do, not everyone's going to like what you do. So that doesn't discourage me as much as just like my own internal doubt about what I'm doing, which happens often. And I think every writer struggles with that, just that internal critic, like, this isn't the best that I can do. And if it's not the best that I can do, I'm going to give up. And it doesn't happen as much anymore. And when I feel that way, it's usually not serious. It's a fleeting sort of frustration, like, damn it, this just isn't working out. I've redone this scene like 8 times, and it's just, I can't, if I change it, I'm going to have to go back and change like the whole book. And, you just get really frustrated, and I'll put it down, and I'll come back maybe the next morning and say, all right, let's look at it again. I guess it's not that bad. But I had another one of those moments the other day where I seriously just like turned off my computer and I was like, damn it, this sucks. Like, I just feel like I wasted all this time doing this. I'm never going to write another word again in my life. And sure, I'm saying that and thinking that, but at a very deep level, I know that that's not necessarily true. That's usually where I get that feeling from, of wanting to give up, because it is hard. And it's funny in a way, because no one has still, other than me, read what I'm writing, but it's like, it's almost an embarrassment. Like, if I'm not comfortable with this, I'm not going to give it to someone else to read. I hate doing that. I try to get something, if I write like even a short story, I'll edit it 3 times myself before I give it to my editor to read, because I just can't. I can't do that. Like, to me, it's a disservice to do that to someone, to give them something that you're not comfortable with. Or it's one thing to need help, and we all need help. Your editor's there to help you, but it's a disservice to just put a bunch of crap on the page that you think is crap and not genuinely something that you're ready for the next step for. So there are many points that I've thought about giving up writing on that level. Giving up writing 100% and never do it again, like in any capacity, and never try to make a life as a writer. Maybe only once, when I was writing the first Grauwelt book. I won't get into all of that. It's pretty emotional sort of thing, but it was just the size of the task ahead of me when it came to doing. I had no idea, I guess. I was pretty naive. After the structural editing, so after my manuscript went to an editor for structural editing, so the editor looked at the whole thing and then said, well, you have some inconsistencies here. You need to fix this, and this. I still have it. The editor gave me, it's like 4 or 5 printed pages of like 0.12 font of just a bullet list of all the things that needed to change and inconsistencies. And when I got that, I wasn't that upset. I was like, okay, well, this is going to take a while. And then I started working on it, and every time I made a change, it sparked like 10 other things in my mind that I had to change, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I just got so frustrated and so upset. And yeah, I had tears in my eyes at one point, and I just said, I should just call it quits right now. I'll just leave the money on the table, never try to make a name for myself, never try to share this story with anyone. It's not that I didn't want to, it was, I don't think I can do it. I don't think that I can make it as good as it needs to be for other people. And I thought then and there really hard one night. I almost did just like back out and just say, I'm not going to do this anymore. But luckily I didn't, because I just thought, well, I'm this far in, why not just keep, and that's a very bad reason to do anything. Like, I'm already this far, I might as well, I've already cut off one hand, might as well cut off the other, sort of thing. And but I don't know, something inside of me just said I gotta do it, because I can't give up if I've already started. But I really did, for one time, really, 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 like this close, consider just giving up writing for good. So that is not an easy thing to do, and that is something that everyone at one time or another, to a greater or lesser extent, has to deal with. That's just part of being an artist. It's part of being just a human being. Um, I think we all have our doubts, and when you're on the line for something, like your editors, the publishing company expects you to get something done and give them what they want, and it's just that there's like this chasm between you and them, and you're over here in your little corner, like working diligently, and you're looking over at them in a way, and then you're looking back at your work, and it's like, this isn't going to happen. They're not going to like this. What do I do? And it's just like the panic sets in. uh, this is never going to be good enough. And then you start thinking, I'll never be good enough, and then it becomes like this vicious cycle of self-loathing. And that happens to a lot of people. It's like I said, it's happened to me. I have a lot of artist friends that do digital painting or traditional painting, graphic designers, and we've had many a beer at the bar or at the kitchen table and just open our hearts to each other, and it's the same thing. Anyone that gets put on the line like that, you get serious doubts about who you are as a person, and you have to have the strength to pull through to the other side. Because I've known a lot of really great artists that it wasn't because their work wasn't good, it's because they couldn't push themselves to reach as high as they needed to, and they fell short. And it's a really sad thing to see that happen, because the person does have the potential. It's just in their mind, they don't believe that they as a person are good enough to do it, even though their technical capabilities are. And that's really one of the saddest things in the world. This question is now starting to get depressing, so I will have to change the subject. But it's a very, very awesome question, and one that may need its own video in the future, because that's something that we all face, whether you're a writer or not. Self-doubt is a really big thing.